Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Shadow. Today I am doing a Reg I team building video and kind of showing you what you need to do to build a great team for Reg I and just kind of some basic team building tips for Reg I. So first off, and this is important for Reg I, but also just like a team, it's going to be pick your partnership for Reg I. So you're going to be picking your duo partnership, and some common cores you can do is say your cores such as your Calyrex Shadow, Zamazenta, or your Koraidon, Lunalas, and really you're just trying to find two mods that work together really well. Say your Calyrex Ice and Miraidon, you're trying to find these teams that work really well together and you can pair together, such as Calyrex Zamazenta, Koraidon Lunala, and Calyrex Miraidon. And the goal of these things is to really build a team with two restrictions that pair really well to each other. For example, so I'm going to use a pair I recently used in a recent online tour, which I use Calyrex Koraidon. And Calyrex Koraidon is really strong. It's a really hyper offensive team. So I kind of know so I can identify what my pairing wants to do. Both my pairings want to do great, huge damage with their ghost and fighting and fire attacks. That's the main thing. So now I can identify what could possibly be problematic matchups. So one, I want Sun, and I want something that could necessarily avoid Ghost. So first off, Rain. Kyogre. Kyogre can be a problem for this duo if it's allowed to be in Rain, and go for strong water spouts, especially if it's something to force out my Terra, such as, say, a Calyrex Ice. This pairing would not be good for me. It has Trick Room, and to punish me for that, and it also has great ways to stop my Sun. And that's another, so you gotta find something in your duos that will kind of hurt you. So I kind of see this and see, okay, I need something to fix, say, my Trick Room matchup. So I'm gonna find something to slow down Trick Room. I can add, say, a Trick Room and Prison Mon if I want to. And that's what should be your next two slots, in my opinion, is something to help support your team. Me personally, I decided that I think Taunt can be a really good effect. So maybe something I could do is I could run the Ogerpon Cornerstone set with Taunt instead. And I could run the IB Cudgel Follow Me Taunt set instead. And that's going to be kind of my way to avoid Calyrex. I can throw in with Ivy Cudgel, I can taunt it to stop Trick Room, and I can follow me away high horsepower, some say Terrafire Koraidon. And that's kind of how you see it. And then like maybe the next one, I want something to hit Kyogre. So maybe I'm looking for something that can deal with like grass damage, electric damage, so anything that can maybe go for that. And I'm already running Sun, so I can add a Raging Bolt. And because it's Sun, I don't have to use Boost Energy. I can run Light Orb instead and threaten Thunderclaps. It's stuff like this that you just need to kind of, especially in Reg I, you pick your duo, pick what you want, and build around it. I like to start off with some support mons, but you can kind of, because it's an offensive team, I don't really need those support mons as much. But let's say we're running a bit more of a defensive strategy. So let's switch to the other common pair with Calyrex is Calyrex Zamazenta. And you'll see this pairing a lot on balance teams. So a lot of times you're looking for support mons. So first off, I'm going to take Amoonguss. Gives really good matchups into the Calyrex Ice along with Zamazenta. These two, especially if it's Terra Water, will be in a really good position to make Calyrex Ice struggle. And that's something that's really nice for this team. Another thing is, say I want a second support mon, I can add Incin. So right here, I've just picked two basic support mons, and they're really filling this team. I got my two heavy hitters and my two support mons, and I can kind of fill them out however I want. And that's, I think, is a really important thing for Reg I, is finding your support mons that are going to most help your big hitter restricteds. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. And then you can fill a team is like, okay, what are my problems? So looking at this team, I have two fighting weaknesses and like a dark. So right off the bat, I'm not having too much. I'm not seeing any glaring problems, but like maybe we can find something that would be a problem. So my first thought would be maybe Koraidon's a problem. Koraidon hits 3 of my Pokemon for super effective damage. and then Calyrex it can house boost and KO with Flare Blitz. So this is something I need to think about. So maybe I think, okay, I need something to go with Koraidon. So something I can think of is Tornadus. Tornadus gives good speed control, and I can go for Rain Dance, Tailwind to keep outspeeding it, and then I can add Urshifu Rapid Strike to take advantage of that rain. Give it Choice Scarf so it's also outspeeding, and Surging Strikes is really effective, especially if it has Terra, to avoid, say, Oblique Wind. And that's kind of how you can fix your matchups, especially. And then say you want to add something a bit cooler, like hey, I want to be going for Body Press, I have Physical Attacker, I can add Coaching as well. And these are the kind of building decisions that I think are going to help you build really good teams. Another duo pairing that is kind of similar to the first one where you build hyper offense. I'm going to show when you're not building around necessarily Pokemon, but around an idea. And the idea for this one is going to be Trick Room. I'm going to talk about Lunala Calyrex. So the first thing with this pairing on paper, type-wise, is not good. They both share really common weaknesses, and overall that can be punishable. So really, both these Pokemon also really want to use their Terra, so it's another thing that's kind of going against it, but here's kind of the crucial thing. First off, both are slow. So that means at this point you're building hard Trick Room, really. So now instead of building around something to cover weakness, you're building to help. So off the bat, I'm going to add an Indeedee. It gives Follow Me support, Psychic Surge for Expanding Force off of Lunala, and say I don't even want to run Expanding Force. I can still run Wide Guard. I can have Lunala be a semi-support mon to help my Calyrex so it avoids Ashless Barrages. And really, you can kind of build these how you want, depending on how your team, and then you kind of fill out the rest with, say, I want Ursaluna to take the Ghost moves that both my Pokemon are weak to, and I have two normal types, kind of flips the matchups, and now I have a good lead into a Calyrex Shadow. And this is kind of how you fit, is not only you build around your core, and you kind of just fill out your weaknesses, try and find what you need. Also, I think there's always a few things you want to take into account. So say, example for this Trick Room team is I need speed control. All my Pokemon are slow, I need Trick Room. Say my Pokemon are all kind of middle speed tiers. An example I'm going to say is, say you're running Kyogre, but you're running Calm Mind and not much speed investment. You may want some speed control on that through Tailwind off of, say, a Tornadus is a good example. And I think this is kind of you got to find what's going to support your restrictions best. So to kind of use this example of this, I'm going to show the Calyrex Koraidon team that I personally used in this recent tour, and it was an offensive team. So what the goal of this team was to be overwhelmed with damage, and right off the bat, I can tell you a few weaknesses this team had. First off, this team was weak to Hard Trick Room, and it was kind of weak to Kyogre. Those were the two problem matchups. So first off, weak to Trick Room. I did not really have an answer, so my goal was, hey, I'm going to lead Chi-Yu, Calyrex, and just try and pin them in these positions where I can try to get damage and maybe try and stall a Trick Room. But the main strategy of this team was, a lot of times I had my two big restricteds, big damage deals in the back, and then I had the rest of the team. So if they had Tailwind, I'd a lot of times bring Whimsicott to match their Tailwind and keep speed and control in my favor. If I didn't feel like speed control was necessary, I could lead Chi-Yu Flutter and just try and chip away to eventually Calyrex Shadow Koraidon clean up. And then I had Ogerpon to keep my frail Pokemon able to take one more hit because they didn't have to take that hit. And then I built this hyper offensive team around the scheme of, hey, I'm going to chip down my opponents and then Calyrex Koraidon kind of sweep from there. Also, I could just say, hey, I want Sun this game. I'm going to lead Koraidon Chi-Yu. I feel confident I can just pin them right away. I can lead Koraidon Calyrex. For example, against Trapagos. Trapagos is a good matchup for this team. It's a pretty good match for this team, because Calyrex can't hit, but Koraidon's really good at eating, and that's why these two are such a good pair. They cover each other's offensive weakness so well, especially on a hyper offense team. And then I'd lead Koraidon Chi-Yu to break the Terra Shell, Collision Course to KO. And then you also got stuff like, what if I don't want to build this team super offensive? So let's say I'm not a fan of hyper offense. First off, switch Whimsicott for a Brute Bonnet. Get this defense boost from Sun. Can be really stally. Spore's really good support. Say you can switch Hornleech to Taunt on Ogerpon to make it more supportive. Flutter main, you can just drop for maybe another support mon that you want, maybe more redirection, or maybe some anti-trick room to help the Calyrex Ice matchup, such as like Fergaraf, or even something I thought of was like a Bronzong to complete Wallet. But overall, I think there's a lot of cool ideas you can do in Reg I, and I think it's a lot of just finding your pairing, finding the support to go along with it, and finding what your team needs to fix its matchups. And that's kind of how you build a good Reg I team. And you only have to do this with the most popular picks. You can just random pick, like random restricted as well. So just kind of prove this, I'm going to take kind of an off-meta pick. So I'm going to go with actually something a bit weird. And we're going to go with like Necrozma. We're just going to go with Necrozma Dusk main. A bit of weird mon. So first off, I can see Psychic Steel. What's it weak to? Ghost, Fire, that's Koraidon. So what's going to be Koraidon? That's going to be my Cali Ice. So I can run Terra Water to avoid it, and then I can kind of play around this. But also, both are weak to fire. How am I going to reduce that? I'm going to bring Rain. So maybe I'll bring Pelipper, and I like Wide Guard here. So maybe instead, okay, it's not Necrozma like it's Wide Guard, it's still Galeo, but I can say run a Wide Guard here and support my team. And say I want another support Pokemon. I'm running Trick Room. Let's add a Mungus. And then again, this is kind of how you again build this team. I've got my 2 sweepers and my 2 support mons. Another thing that's pretty common is you have your single target attacker and your spread attacker for Reg I, so you spread your damage around. And I think there's a lot of this that's really good, especially as a new player, is just finding a strategy you want, and then finding your two restrictors that fit that strategy best, then your 2 support mons the most effectively support that and help that strategy. Another thing, again, Astral Barrage, another problem, so maybe I want a Dark type. I can add Instant. It walls Calyrex really good, and overall, then say to round out this team, again, maybe I'm just really worried about Koraidon, and I want to find another way to beat it. Maybe I'll add something, either something to abuse the rain from Pelipper to make it more synergy. Maybe I'll add a Rapid Strike, such as Surging Strikes, and Coaching to again pair really well with the Necrozma Calyrex. And again, I think these are decisions that are really good, and I think this is a great guide for how to build a really good team in Reg I. In a station where I'm proven team, always test, because I can feel this team and say, okay, I'm not bringing instant to my matchups. I'll switch it out for something that to fix my problems. For example, let's say this is an example, but let's just say like Zacian's giving me problems, or Zamazenta. Let's say Zamazenta's giving me problems. I'm going to find a mon that deals with Zamazenta really well, and that's going to be maybe like a Ghost type to Wallet. So maybe we'll go like a Goldango to really just not allow the Zamazenta to get good damage. We can get free Nasty Plot. Again, testing, you can find the mods that fix your matchups, and overall can build really good teams, and sometimes really interesting teams. But overall, tell me if this guide helped you. I'd love to hear comments if this is what you want, but overall, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to the video. I'll see you next time. Bye.